Okay, so today we're going to look at why to choose and how to select an Amphibious IQ pond pump for your pond. So we have 4 models in the range, and starting with the 2250 to 4,500 model for standard ponds, and there's an energy saving potential of £49 to £62 per year. The medium pond 3,000 to 6,000 with an energy saving of between £24 and £62 a year. The Amphibious IQ 4,500 to 9,000 with an energy saving between £40 and £74 a year. And the largest model in the range for extra large ponds, the 6,000 to 12,000 model, and you can save up to £111. So let's take a look at one of these in a little bit more detail. So we're saying this is an energy saving pond pump, and the technology in this pump is quite different to most pumps you will find on the market, because we have the ability to adjust the power and to adjust the flow with a digital interface. So this is a digital motor, and we can control by using these little buttons, turning the power up and down on the performance and the energy usage that you have from the pump. So at 60 watts, which is what the controller is displaying here, it produces its maximum flow of 8,700 litres an hour. If you were to turn it down, which can go in increments, to 30, you would be at 4,500 litres an hour. So this pump is effectively a 4,500 or a 5.5 or a 6 or an 8 or a 9, depending on where you set it in its range of performance. It also has very good pressure and lift, so this is a max pumping height of 4.5 meters for this 9,000 pump. So that's if you were to lift a hose in the air, at what point would it stop pumping water, and it's a good measure of the pressure of a pump. So it's an energy saver pump, it's got flexible power usage and flow, but it's also very high performance, so it's not weak because it's energy saving. Just to explain how we come up with these energy saving figures, what we're trying to do is give a very reasonable and unexpected level of energy saving you could make every year, and we've used an energy comparison website, which is UK Power in this case, and they take 6 energy suppliers and they tell you which one you should select. We've actually taken the average power figure there, so in July 2018 this was 14.37 pence per kilowatt hour. And each one of these pumps we've compared to a different major competitor who would be a pump that you may be likely to choose from, and showing the energy saving at full power versus that competitor product. So in this case, at 9,000 litres, or at 8,700 litres at 60 watts, you could save £40 versus a leading competitor. If you were to turn this pump down, because when you got it home you found that you could the performance was as good as you wanted at a lower wattage, and you adjusted it, or it was the winter and you turn the flow rate down because the pond doesn't need it, you could be saving up to £74 a year. So a range of energy save against a pump that you should or could be considering as an alternative to the IQ. So in terms of selecting the pump, we've tried to make this as easy as possible. So this is the standard pond pump, medium, large and extra large. And if you take this pump, for example, there's a little scale drawing here, and this is 3 people by a 6x6 fence panel. We've tried to do a illustration of the recommended pond size, so we're saying this pump would do a 3,150 litre pond, and we scale that up as the pumps increase through the range. So an easy way to select the pump would be to have a look at these scale drawings, think about which one is closest to your pond and select that pump. That's a nice easy way to choose. In terms of how you would run the pump, you would put the pump in your pond, you would take a hose from the pump, water was sucked in, pumps the water up through the hose to a filter or waterfall, and then it would circulate around and around. The digital interface isn't submersible. You would site that on the side of the pond in a convenient position so you could adjust the flow or turn it on or off. If one of the scenarios wasn't exactly what you wanted, we've actually put some slightly different scenarios on here. So this box, we're on the orange pump, so 4.5 to 9,000, so this band. So if you were just to run a filter and you didn't have a waterfall, so the pump wasn't lifting water into the air, you could do actually quite a bit larger pond. So this is 13,000 litres. We've also worked out at 1.5 metres what width of waterfall it would produce with a good flow. So this is 42 centimetre waterfall with a nice flow if you were just running the waterfall. And then we've done the scenario which we have on the box, which is the pump running a waterfall and a filter, as we think that's probably the most likely. You have the lift chart, so this shows the flow at 0 head, so if you just put the hose on the surface, how many litres an hour the pumps would do, in this case 87. And then we recommend at 1.5 metres, so that's lifting the water in the air to a waterfall, and what flow do you get, in which this case it's 5,100, and we use that to work out our diagrams. And there's also some information about how to work out your pond size and the breakdown of the detail of the selection. Blagdon is a over half a century old British water gardening company, and the design and innovation is done in the UK, and I hope that will prove itself out on the product. So this is the heart of the product and why it's different, and this is this digital motor technology. So this is a frequency inverter motor, so the electricity comes in from the mains, and there's a series of switches in here controlled by a microprocessor that allows the pump to run at a range of different wattages to produce a range of different performance and energy usage, so you can just adjust it to exactly what you want. And as it's a smart controller, it has some very useful functions that comes with that. So we have a motor protection system which can shut the pump off to stop it from jamming, for example. We have a run dry protection system, so if a hose came off and water came out, you can protect the pump. The flexible power usage, turn it up and down, and a soft start system, and a 3-year warranty. Technical data is on the carton for the pump, so the wattage, the maximum flow, the maximum pumping height, what size solid, so this is 8 mil, so it can pump 8 mil through the cage, through the pump to your filter. Cable, so this is 8.5 meters from the pump to the controller, and then 1.5 meters from the controller to your socket or switch box, and the controller itself is outdoor weatherproof IP56. So why buy this pump? I think there's a couple of significant reasons. I think one is it's very easy to select. Normally you would have to choose a pump which is too big for your pond, and the reason that you would do that is that it's quite hard to tell, if you were to buy this pump and you wanted to run this pretty looking waterfall, exactly what pump I would need. And if you took it home and the pump was too small and you turned your pump on, you might get a tiny little bit of flow come out of here, or maybe even no flow if the waterfall was high, and you might have put the hose in, put the cables in, installed it all, and it's very disappointing, in which case you would have to take it out and maybe take it back to the shop and see what they would do about that. But still, it would be a bit of a waste of time. So most people would generally recommend you buy a pump that is too big, and you would then adjust the pump, turning it down with a valve. So this is a 1.5" ball valve, and you could see that you would just vary how closed the pipe was and turn the flow rate down to get what you want. The problem with that is that the energy usage of the pump is still at what you bought it for. So if you bought a 100-watt pump, you found that you needed it, it was flooding your waterfall and you were losing water from your pond, and you needed to adjust it down, you would use a valve, but you're still paying for 100 watts worth of electricity every year. And with the IQ pump and its controller, you can buy a pump which is a little bit too big, adjust it down to exactly what you need, and you only pay for the flow and the energy that you're using. So that saves you electricity, which obviously saves you money per annum. It's also environmentally friendly, so you're not wasting energy just through a valve that you don't need. You could turn it down in the winter if you wanted to reduce the flow when your fish weren't feeding. So that's a very easy way to select, and the pump obviously is variable across a range of different performances. So I hope that that's useful. Thank you for watching.